What's up, everybody? Tony Cutillo here. Win Daily Sports Fantasy Firebox NFL season-long fantasy football edition. You've been watching these. We've talked about Josh Allen. We've talked about George Pickens. We've talked about A.J. Brown. We talked about Christian McCaffrey. I love doing these segments, and I hope you enjoy them as well. If you have any questions from a fantasy football perspective, man, put them in the chat. Let us know. Let me try to answer them to the best of my ability. Doing a ton of season-long fantasy football content right here at Win Daily Sports. You hear us on Sirius every weekend. You hear me and Dave on Sunday night specifically, and you hear some of my analytics. You may not always agree with them, but I at least give you a pretty good basis on why I think the way that I do. Now, first and foremost, if you're not getting involved in our promo that's going on right now, which is Christmas in July, 50% off. Join now. July Xmas is the coupon code. Listen, we are hitting, especially PJ Draftcast, 2 weeks in a row, 45-1, 22-1. We've hit NASCAR over the last 3 weeks. We've hit multiple NBA playoffs when we were still going. And you talk about home run props, you talk about Jared's prize picks. There is so much to like here. And right now, you get ready for football season. What a better way than get 15% off with the coupon code July Xmas for Christmas, obviously. But what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about Zay Flowers. Now, if you followed me for as long, I've been with Win Daily probably about 3 years. I've been doing fantasy football for over 20 years. And I get fixated on specific people all the time. I do a lot of study and do a lot of research. And obviously, our season long rankings are up right now on windailysports.com. They're updated weekly. So make sure you get that 50% off with that code. You see it right up at the top right hand corner right there. July Xmas. Get in on that now because that's going to go away. And you're going to be pissed off that it went away. You didn't get in on that deal. I'm going to tell you that right now, especially when we look forward to football season in September. Zay Flowers. Now, everybody knows that people draft differently in fantasy football. There's different scoring systems. You have different people that are obviously in the draft. And you kind of get into the psyche of a lot of people and understand kind of where they're going, what they're going to do, what they did last year, what they're prone to do, specific players they like. And I love picking those wide receivers that people are kind of forgetting about. And listen, it's a 50-50 shot, right? So if I'm 100% correct, I mean, listen, everybody would be following me, which they don't, okay? That's okay. I have enough followers. I'm good with that. But at the end of the day, what the whole point of this is draft strategy. And taking a guy that may not be in an ADP top 10 as a wide receiver and drafting him as a top 10 or a top 12 for that wide receiver. And everybody looking at you like, what is this guy doing? So let's talk about why I feel Zay Flowers should be drafted as a top 10 wide receiver. And I'm going to look at our, listen, I'll bring them up. I'll share the screen just so everybody sees what I'm looking at when it talks to season long rankings. Okay. So let's bring that up right now. So our season long rankings are on the site right now. We're going to bring these up. And this is what our season long rankings look like. Okay. This is what they look like. When you come up to windailysports.com, there's my name. Hey, what's up? Look at my picture. When you sign in, listen, you see the pricing? That's where you're going to go and get that deal for 50% off. And you're going to type in July Xmas, okay? Here's our season-long rankings right now. Obviously, you go by all, go by quarterback, go running back, receiver, tight end. Now, let's go and look at the receiver position. And let's look at where Zay Jones is right now. So Zay Jones. Yeah, right. Zay Jones, who all of a sudden blows up, right? Zay Jones. But no, Zay Flowers, obviously, he's ranked right here as ADP on our metrics, which are not my metrics. This is just overall. So we're not saying this is gospel for every single person. It's a guideline. Okay. He's looking at wide receiver 24. an ADP of around 38, which is basically the third round, eighth pick in a 10-man team or a 10-man league. I think that's super low. Okay. And I think that's extremely low for Zay Flowers. And I look at some of these people above him and I ask you, do you feel more comfortable? You know, I feel that word, right? Safe or comfortable. Are you looking more Malik Neighbors? Listen, we just saw what happened to Malik Neighbors. We already talked about on the show last night. If you listen to Win Daily Radio on Sirius XM, and you talked about the mental instability of Malik Neighbors sitting there making it rain like Pac-Man Jones in the club, not really ready, right? Not ready to be that number one guy. I'm not touching that right there. Mike Evans, who has been obviously, listen, the guy's been uber consistent. Okay. But I'm still taking Zay Flowers. I'm taking Zay Flowers over Drake London. There you go. Drake London from our ADP is going in like the second round between picks 4 and 6, right? I'm taking Zay Flowers. So everybody wants to know, why am I taking Zay Flowers? Oh, here's the deal. I think this is what you have to look at. You have to look at what the Baltimore Ravens did in an offseason. They shown complete confidence in Zay Flowers by not bringing in another wide receiver to give him any competition. Okay, they continue to go with Nelson Aguilar. They continue to go with Rashad Bateman, okay, which I like Rashad Bateman. And obviously, you always have Mark Andrews there. But here's what I love, okay? This is the secret antidote right here when we talk about why you love Zay Flowers. Think about the way the Baltimore Ravens are constructed. What do the Baltimore Ravens love to do? They love to pound the rock. And last year, what happened? Last year, they had so many injuries, right, from the running back position. They had so many different all the time. And it wasn't a mainstay. So they really never established it the way they wanted to. And by the way, Zay Flowers still had 108 targets. Zay Flowers still had 77 catches. Zay Flowers still had 5 touchdowns, and he still had almost 900 yards in his rookie season. And what do? They go in and they bring in King Henry. Now, if you go in and bring in King Henry, you bring in Derrick Henry, you know you're going to run the rock. You know you're going to pound the rock. What is that going to do? What is King Henry's claim to fame? He's tough to what? Tough to tackle. Now, if he's tough to tackle, what is the opposing team going to do? They're going to bring that safety in. That safety now is in the box. No longer an over-the-top helper for a speedster like Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is going to make secondaries have nightmares in 2024. Zay Flowers is going to put up at least 85 catches. I wouldn't be shocked if he throws up 90. And he's going to look at about 1,300 yards and probably score about 7 to 8 touchdowns. And that's wide receiver number 1. That's top 10 wide receiver territory. Again, listen, I know you're going to say, well, Mark Andrews. I understand that. Okay, I completely understand that. But guess what? Tyreek Hill played with my man, Travis Kelce. And Tyreek Hill still was the cheetah. Okay, you can still have an 85 to 90 catch season along with another guy who has 85 to 90 catches. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith find a way to coexist. Zay Flowers is going to be the number 1 offensive weapon on a team, by the way, that has made it a point to say multiple times that they want to cut the rushing attack down of their franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson, which means, again, more swing routes to Zay Flowers, more bubble screens to Zay Flowers, more go long to Zay Flowers. Do you see what we're saying here about Zay Flowers? So for me, for my money, again, you could be talking about a couple points between all these guys. But if you look at the list of where these guys are going, I could tell you right now, I would feel more comfortable drafting Zay Flowers over George Pickens, over Debo Samuel, over Drake London, over Nico Collins, okay, over DK Metcalf, over Mike Evans, and over Michael Pittman Jr. And quite possibly over Chris Olave. Again, that's how excited I am about Zay Flowers. Call me crazy. Let me know. So if you're listening to this on a rewind and you're listening to this on YouTube, number one, make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel because as you see, we are dropping content every single day. But number two, the most important thing is engage. Let me know because I'm not saying this is 100% correct. What I'm saying is this is what my gut, my eyes, and my brain tells me by really breaking this down from an offensive scheme perspective and understanding and watching these pressers and watching reading these columns from these beat writers and understanding what these players, these coaches, and these writers are saying, which is going to open up everything for Zay Flowers. Again, Tony Cutillo, Win Daily Sports. Make sure you get locked in. Like I said, right here, I brought it up. I'll put it again. The banner is up. We are blowing it out based on a PJ Draftcast, going 2 weeks back-to-back winners of 22-1, of 45-1. Now is the time. Weekly, monthly, yearly, all 50% off. You can make your money back in one night. Again, WinDailySports.com. This is the Fantasy Firebox. As always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. And again, man, listen, just follow WinDailySports.com and get into the club, or I should say community and Discord right